Well, there was a time when marketing was the preserve of the creative genius, the person who could write great copy, the person who could create a beautiful visual, somebody who could tell an emotional story using a 30-second audiovisual commercial. Marketing was the preserve of the social scientist, the psychologist who could read the human mind, who knew what messages can appeal to people and what messages will create a favorable impression. But that time has now passed. It is not good enough to create something which appears to be emotionally appealing, beautiful, a great copy, ad copy. Well, uh, that's not sufficient. It may be a necessary condition, but not a sufficient condition. Today, marketers are judging the creative work of people using hard numbers. And one of the tools, there are many tools which give you uh, analytical insights into what you have done. When it is concerned with websites, it is not good enough to create a beautiful website with stunning visuals and very, very interactive content. Well, it is good only if the numbers say so. And one of the tools that are used is Google Analytics. Google Analytics will tell you the entire story, not through the lens of an emotionally charged marketer, but through the lens of a very, very hard nosed analyst. Google Analytics will tell you, what your acquisitions have been, how many new users you have acquired, from where the traffic came, what was the nature of the engagement you had, what kind of events occurred, in what frequency, in which pages the users landed up, what about monetization, how much did they purchase, what products they purchased, what was their purchase journey. Very often, people spend a lot of time on your site and eventually purchase nothing. So, what was your checkout journey? How effective were your promotions? What kind of transactions you had? What was the retention rate of the people who came? What kind of users came? What were the demographic details? What is your audience profile? All these things are captured in Google Analytics. And Google Analytics will tell you the entire story in the most insightful way without any emotional content. So let's try to examine how this fantastic tool really works. So through my resources, you can go to the Google Analytics um, site and you can create a account for yourself. It's easy and I won't get into those details. So once you have created an account, as I have, so you'll be led to this page. So which platform are you looking at? So right now we are looking at web. So we can also examine Android and iOS, but we are looking at web for the time being because that is the platform where the largest number of content is can be found. So I'll click on web, and in web you have all these metrics: page views, scrolls, outbound clicks, site search, video engagement, file downloads, form interactions, and so on. So I'll not go into the specific explanations of what these are. These are fairly self-explanatory. So to begin with, you have to record the name of your website. So I have given the name of a website, and you have to give the name of the stream that you are assessing. Actually, it's just a name. It doesn't materially change the nature of the data that you have or you can have. So I'll give it a name, say accessing web traffic. Well, I don't need to be very creative, just as an illustration. So it doesn't really matter because you can get everything you want, irrespective of the name you have given to the stream. So you have now created a stream, and uh, in order to activate it, you need to have a small piece of code that will sit in your website. So you can install it manually. So Google Analytics has given you this code. It says below is the Google tag for the account. Copy and paste it in the code of every page of your website immediately after the head element. Don't add more than one Google tag. So you have to simply copy this. You just share it with the person who has developed the website, and they will just add this to the website, and then your website is good to go. So once your website has been activated with this Google Analytics tag, it will start um, showing up all the data concerning your website. So at this point of time, we don't have a website with all this Google tagging and all that. So we will look at a website, look at a Google Analytics account, which has been created by Google. It's connected to a live site called the Google Merchandise Store. So this is an actual store, and the data that you can see is live. So we'll use the Google Merchandise Store account to understand the functioning of Google Analytics. So let us see. So it has, these sections: home and reports and so on. So let me look at reports. Okay, in the home section, it gives you a kind of overview of many of the things. So it is too much of a summarized data. So I think we will uh, can have a look at it, but we'll skip it. So we'll go to reports. So in reports, you have all this um, real-time overview, real-time pages. Then in the life cycle, you have acquisition, engagement, and monetization, retention, users, and so on. This is something we had seen earlier when we started this session. So let us look at, let's say, real-time pages. So real-time kind of gives you what has happened in the last 30 minutes or so. So here it says active users in the last 30 minutes is 78, views in the last 30 minutes is 227, and so on. And some other stuff, it gives you uh, what happened in the last 30 minutes. In my view, that's not really critical unless you have just launched a promotion and you want to see what is really happening. So it is more of academic interest. So we'll go into the acquisition. So let us look at the acquisition overview. Acquisition is basically about uh, how you have been acquiring the customers. So you have active users and new users, and you get a bunch of stuff concerned with acquisition. So let me just give you an idea of what are the types of acquisitions that are there. So some typical acquisitions that have been given here, and obviously this can be customized to your website, but these are some standard modes of acquisition that are commonly used across all websites. So direct direct means when somebody types in your URL in their web browser and accesses your website directly. That comes under the category of direct. Organic search is if you have searched for a generic content or specifically your website um, using Google or Bing or something like that. So that is organic search. Unassigned means again, Google Analytics doesn't really know how it came. Cross networks means you have a number of different advertising platforms. So whether it came through that. Referral is whether your brand name or URL was carried by some other website, and so there's a cross reference. So you landed up through somebody else's website. There could be paid search options like advertisements, which are there, by platforms like Google. Your web link could have been given through an email broadcast, which was organized by you. It could have come through some unpaid social media post like LinkedIn or Facebook uh, or Instagram or Twitter. There could be some shopping platforms and so on. So these are the various ways in which a user can be acquired. So in this particular instance, since Google Merchandise Store is quite popular and well known, so a lot of this stuff has come from direct. So 64.28 64,628 75% of the acquisitions have come from direct. Um, Now, if you look at, then it'll give you stuff like traffic acquisition. So how the traffic was acquired. Um, so traffic acquisition tells you how in a given period the traffic was acquired in your website. There's one point that I'd like to share. You can define for which period, which dates we are looking for this data. So in this case, it is 18th of February to 17th of March. So you can define the dates, and you can define the data can be provided on a weekly basis or on a daily basis. So whatever frequency you decide. So here we have chosen daily frequency. So if you want a weekly frequency or a monthly frequency, you could do that as well. So this is the various, and these are sources from which the traffic in the period 17th February to 16th March has been acquired. So let us look at engagement. So engagement is the kind of activities a viewer performs when they come onto your website. So so these activities are basically known as events. So typically, some of the common events are page views. So a page has been viewed by the person who has landed on the page. View item list is typically in e-commerce sites. You have a list of items that uh, are being sold. So you can see the browser has viewed the list of items. Session start. So in this particular round, it could be an existing user or a new user. So when did the session start and how many times a session was started by somebody who came onto the site? First visit tells you the very first time a new user has landed up on your site, which items have been viewed, um, which promotions have been used, which item was selected. Scroll tells you how many times a user has scrolled to the bottom of that particular page. So these are some of the interactions that the person who lands up on your site is likely to have, and events will tell you that. Then it talks about conversions. So conversions are very important. So you need to know how the conversion is taking place. So sometimes one gets carried away by the number of visits or the number of times a person or somebody has seen your product or list. But the reality is that they may have viewed your items many times, but the actual purchase could be very less. So if you look at this particular thing, let me look at this instance. So the number of times an item has been viewed is 7,225. Of these, only 899 have been added to the cart, and only 134 purchases have been made. So this is conversions is like a reality check. So it is not good enough to know that uh, number of times your item has been viewed. In this instance, the viewers, the total number is 42932. The number of times the item has been viewed is 2465, and add to cart is 424, but purchase is just 43. So this is actually conversion is a reality check as to how things are really working, and these metrics give you a sense of that. They'll also tell you about total revenue, and in so many cases the revenue is zero. So this is something that you need to know. Then they'll tell you what was the landing page, so on which page the browser first landed up. So these are the landing pages for this particular website. So this tells us that you know uh, which pages seem to be more popular and people have landed up on that. Let's go into monetization. So monetization again is to what extent the visits are getting converted into revenues. So here you see total revenue is 162 for this entire period. For each day, you can track the revenue. What is the revenue for a particular for a given day? This chart gives you the average purchase value for a given day, and information like that. Uh, this tells you about the purchase journey. So how the purchase journey took place. So you had 78,000 users, and it gives you the split across mobile, desktop, tablet, and smart TV. So mobile seems to be highest 62%, desktop is 36%, tablet is like 0.31%. Then from the number of people who viewed, the number of users uh, uh, who viewed some product. So it's a steep fall from 78,000 to 15,000. And again, a split is given across mobile, desktop, tablet, and smart TV. Uh, from the number of people who viewed your product to the number of people who added a product to the cart, again, there's a steep fall from 15,495 to 3,300. From the number of products that were added to the cart to the commencement of checkout is down to 1705, and actual purchase is down to 939. So from the 78,000 people who landed up on your website, only 939 people ended up making a purchase during the given period. And of these, it looks like mobile phone purchases were, it appeared that the number of people who uh, landed up on the desktop page was 36%, but purchases happen actually at the desktop. So people will do all the browsing on the mobile and all that, but when it comes to actual purchases, uh, the the number of people who actually viewed the product, 77%, uh, added to the cart is 82%, um, 84% is beginning checkout, and 90% is actual purchase. So this gives you a sense as to which platform actually the transactions are taking place. Now, you can have a sense of the users who are seeing your website. So let's look at demographic. So you have this chart which talks about demographics. So this is about country, but you can pick a different demographic, for example, age. So if you pick age, then you have 18 to 24, 25 to 34, and so on. So it looks like you have 83,000 visitors. Of these, you don't know anything about 84%. Um, and from those that you do know, this is the data that you get. So maybe if there's a way to figure out, how you can capture the gender information, that would help. But this information doesn't seem to be very meaningful. Let's see if gender gives us a better sense. So again, here unknown is as high as 81%. So actually, it appears that this website has not been very good in capturing demographics. It doesn't give us very meaningful information. Let's look at audiences. So audiences are classified as non-purchasers, recently active users, engaged users, and so on. So here you get a lot of data. So obviously, as we can expect, non-purchasers are very high, 41%. Engaged users are 3.89%. So this audience profile gives us a sense of the kind of users that we have, uh, the audience that we have. So we will try and examine each of these charts in greater detail. And if you are designing a Google Analytics application, there are ways to design these reports and how you specify your information requirement and so on. So you have a section on Explore where you can actually create specific types of reports that would be useful for you. And you can define your reporting requirements, and reports can be specifically created for that. And then you have a section on advertising. So whatever you do, sometimes you end up doing a lot of advertising, maybe on maybe Google or different platforms. So to what extent that advertising is paying off, that is something that you can get out of this. What is the conversion performance, for example? So you can get the conversion performance across different platforms, direct organic search, and so on. And if you see paid search, let's look at paid search. So paid search is as little as 1.51%. So it appears advertising is not working very well. So advertising will give you a sense of uh, what is really happening. So let's look at advertising segments. So so you have likely 7-day churn, user tests. So you have some information about um, purchasing relating to advertising segments. So this is an overview of Google Analytics, and it is probably one of the most comprehensive tools to assess the activities that you have on your website, and it can be extremely insightful uh, if you're trying to improve the website contents and you know, page descriptions and things like that. So you can track the activity on your website, and it can be extremely useful if you are if you manage your website in this particular manner. You can get maybe a lot of insights from your activities on your website. So that is all for now. We'll stop here and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much.